Namaste, welcome to my YouTube channel, Ad Astra to the Stars. So today we're going to talk about another episode, a very interesting episode on astro-theological symbolism of the Bible, of the Christian Bible. Last time we talked about also astro-theological symbolism, but I talked it my podcast was generic because I was talking about the four constellations now in the Bible. But today I'm going to focus on Jesus Christ, how Jesus existence or presence in the New Testament implies a lot of astro-theological symbolisms as we read behind the lines of the verses in the New Testament. Okay, so the first our introduction I will start with this statement that in ancient times, people would always look at the stars for messages, because people during those times, a lot of them were a medium, or the channel, or they received messages from heaven. So they look at the stars, and especially if they were priests, because the priests would like to give some also advice not to the kings, and they would like to dwell on astrological knowledge or phenomenon, because during that time astrology was really the accepted science on how to foretell, to see things in advance. So according to them, so if gods live in heaven, so that's the ancient time, gods live in heaven, and heaven for them is the sky up there. So it was natural for priests to look to heaven for signs, to what the king had to know to please them. So over the centuries, ancient peoples observed the movements of the celestial bodies. And sometimes, why they would like to observe the movement of the celestial bodies? Because it's a fixed movement. The stars, most of them are not fixed. They move also from one constellations, bringing the planets, the moons, to the other constellations, and people would like to draw that or look at them with certain messages and implications. So in many cases, the biblical authors themselves personified the stars and wrote about them in allegorical language in the Bible. So that's allegorical, meaning it's hidden, or the meaning is it's not really as written as verbatim, but there is something that is hidden, and you can understand it by understanding the nature of the metaphor, or allegory. So just for you to see, to know how our constellations, so a ship of from one constellation to the other, it takes 2,150 to travel from one constellation to the other. So the Bible includes four constellations, as I mentioned that in my previous podcast on Astro-theological symbolism part 1. So I would like to repeat this now, because I was not so certain when I talk about the years. This time I will be precise in giving you the years from one constellation to the other. So from 4,300 BC to 2,150 BC, meaning before Christ, before Christian era, it was the age of Taurus, the bull. So you can find that now, references now from the bull, as I mentioned that last time. Then from 2,150 BC again to 1,000 to 1 AD, the birth of Christ, it was the age, no, Aries, the ram. Now, 1 kasi is the birth of Christ, 1 AD. Okay. And from 1 AD to 2,150, today we are in 2023, but this age of Christ, this constellation of Christ, as symbolized by the age of Pisces, still continues up to 2,150 Pisces. No, so however, Aquarius is already mixing, no, with Pisces. Now, and the age we are still into this day. So it's still in the Christian era, but Aquarius is already entering into the constellations. It's already there's already a split, no, a combination. Now we will enter the new age of Aquarius, or the golden age, completely on 2,150 years, but we are still in the 2023 our year. So it takes a lot of more years to really complete the cycle of Pisces, but we can already see how Aquarius now, the spirit of Aquarius is already here now in Pisces. So our main thesis now, as Jesus departs, as he was also captured, and put to death by the Roman Empire through the advice of the Sanhedrin, the priests, the high priest. So we can find that now in as our reference, our basis, in Luke 22 verse 10. So in Luke 22 verse 10, it says, when Jesus is asked by his disciples where the next Passover will be, Jesus replied, behold, when you enter into the city, there shall be a man you shall meet a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entered in. So you have to follow the man who is holding a jar, and this symbol, and this symbol of a man holding a jar is a symbol of Aquarius. Now, so this scripture is by far one of the most revealing of all the astro-theological references. So Jesus already giving a hint. Is giving a hint to us that his era will soon will end, and the other era of constellation shall come. And we are now experiencing the spirit of Aquarius. But in this podcast, I will focus not in Aquarius, but I will focus on Jesus now in Pisces. His relation, his symbols, his life as also related with star astrological implications in the New Testament. So, however, I would like to explain this man holding a water jar. So the man bearing a pitcher of water is Aquarius. So the water bearer is always pictured as a man pouring out a pitcher of water. He represents the age after Pisces, and when the Son, God's Son, leaves the age of Pisces, which is Jesus, it will go into the house of Aquarius, and Aquarius follows Pisces in the procession of the equinoxes. Also, Jesus is saying that after of Pisces will come the age of Aquarius. But remember, Jesus will not leave us in the age of Aquarius. His spirit His light, no, His consciousness. He will be with us, guard us, to guide us, because Jesus is love, and love is a universal language. Whatever constellations no we are in, love no is always there. Okay, so Jesus assured us that He will be with us no, it, with us till the end of the age, till the end of His era no, even after no, because as I've said before, love is all encompassing. Love has no transcends the time and space. So let us reminisce as we move towards or we are going towards the winter solstice no, in December, and December is coming again, and we will give some implications preparing this no, this coming December no, in the during winter solstice. So Jesus' birth sequence no, is completely astrological. The brightest star no, in the night sky is Sirius. So that's that star in the east, which appeared no, as also we can see that in the New Testament, is represented by the star called Sirius. Sirius, there was there was this bright star appeared no, also a long time ago in the constellation of Pisces, and that would represent Jesus Christ. So Sirius during the time now is aligning, or was aligned, or Sirius aligned with the three brightest stars now in the Orion belt no, in the constellation of Orion, the Hunter. So if we're familiar with the constellation Orion, the Hunter, his belt has three stars. So when Sirius, the brightest star in the east, and the three stars of the Orion's belt in the constellation of Orion align no, with each other, that creates the brightest star in the sky, which signals the birth of the Messiah. So these three bright stars in Orion's belt are called today what they were called in ancient times. This is called the three wise men, the Magi, or others would say the two kings. As mentioned in the Bible, the three wise men, the three kings visited Jesus no, in Bethlehem. Okay, later on Bethlehem also has astrological symbols. So in short, the three kings and the brightest star Sirius, these all point to the place of the sunrise on December 25th, because the sun starts shine on December 25th. Okay, we will discuss that later. Okay, so if you are going to look at the constellations, if you are going to look at the graphic which I present, as I'm presenting right now, you can see how these things this astrological phenomenon. Okay, so the three kings and the brightest star Sirius all point to the place of the sunrise on December 25th, which is the birth of Christ. We Christians consider that December 25th, although no one, there are a lot of theologians who disagree that December 25th is not really the birth, the exact birth of Jesus. So this is why the three kings followed the star in the east in order to look at the sunrise. Now, which we call this the birth of the sun. The birth of the sun, S-U-N. Then later on, they replaced the sun into S-O-N. The birth of the Son of God, the light. No, Jesus is the light of the world, isn't it? So it's the sun, it's the star, as mentioned also in the Bible. Now, another thing which also points to astro-theological symbolism or hybrid is the virgin birth of Mary. Mary was born as immaculate. Uh, the virgin birth of Mary to Jesus. No, as we read the Bible and also in our catechism, um, Mary was immaculate. He conceived Jesus, uh, still a virgin. He was not physically or so physically became pregnant, no, to Joseph, but through to God the Father. No, it was the design. It was the Father who gave that kind of birth of Jesus. No, so that's why when Mary was a virgin. Now, if we're going to look at the constellation, what constellation is that represents the Virgin? Is the Virgo. No, so you can find that Virgo next to Leo. No, and if we're going to look at the dictionary, Virgo in Latin means virgin. So the ancient glyph, no, or symbol during those times for Virgo is altered M. No, it looks like letter M. So this is why Mary, it starts with letter M, the mother of Jesus, and the Virgin Mothers. Not only Mary is the Virgin Mother, but also the mother of Adonis, Mira, is also a virgin. Another one is the mother of Buddha. No, her name is Maya. No, it's also begin with letter M. So Virgo is also referred to as the house of bread, and the representation of Virgo is a virgin holding a sheaf of wheat or bunch of wheat, no, bundles of wheat. So Virgo is also represented, no, in the Bible as Bethlehem, where Mary gave birth to Jesus. No, in Bethlehem, that would symbolize also the house of bread. So it's related to astrological symbols. Now, the house of bread and its symbol of wheat now represents August, September, not the time of harvest. So this would explain why Bethlehem is called the house of bread. No, so Bethlehem in fact literally translates to the house of bread. No, and this reference, represents to the constellation Virgo. No, it's a place in the sky, not a place on earth or Bethlehem. No, as mentioned in the Bible. Okay, the next thing that is very amazing is the image of Virgo went as far as Egypt. No, in the image of the Sphinx. No, so in the pyramid of Giza, so there is that Sphinx, who guards, no, the pyramids. And if you're going to look at the original face of the Sphinx, it looks like a woman with the body of a man. No, so it's about a woman and a lion. No, so if we're going to look at the constellation, Virgo and Leo are near to each other. So it's already combining. If you combine Virgo and Leo, no, it is the image of the Sphinx, the face of a woman and the body of a lion. So these two, if we're to look at the constellation, they are pointing towards Pisces. So straight line, no, they point Pisces, where the Pisces, which is really the constellation of Jesus. Jesus was born in the constellation of Pisces. Okay, so if we're going to look at the graphics or the drawing or the picture, you would see really how the face of a woman and the body of a lion now combined together now in Sphinx. Okay? So in Greek mythology, the Sphinx was also considered to be a woman. One Sphinx was only considered to exist in Greek mythology. Now she was the daughter of Arctis or Chimera. No? So apart from the human head and the body of the lion, she also had wings of an eagle and the tail of the serpent. And that was in ancient Greek mythology. But in Egypt, it's only about lion, Jesus, Leo, and Virgo. Now it represents Mary, and it's very near to the interpretation of the virgin birth of Jesus. So Mary and the birth of Jesus are represented by the Sphinx. Now, another one, the December 25th is also the birth of Jesus. It also has this astrological implication. So there's another very interesting phenomenon that occurs around December 25th, or the winter solstice. Now, from the summer solstice to the winter solstice, so the days become shorter and colder. Now, from the perspective of the northern hemisphere, the sun appears to move south to get smaller, and then it appears that no more sun later on. So the shortening of the days and the expiration of the crops when approaching the winter solstice symbolize the process of the death to the ancients. To ancient time, it was the death of the sun, and it could be also the death of Jesus. Jesus, after he was hung on the cross, after his death, he was put into the tomb. And according to our faith, or as also mentioned in the Bible, resurrected after 3 days. So the 3 days represents December 22, 23, and 24. 3 days. There was no sun. Now you cannot find sun in other parts of the world. You cannot find the sun if you live in the northern hemisphere. So by December 22nd, the sun's demise was fully realized for the sun, having moved south continually for 6 months. So makes it to the lowest point in the sky. So here, a curious thing occurs. Now the sun stops moving south, at least perceivably, in 3 days. So during this 3-day pause, the sun resides in the vicinity of the Southern Cross, or which we call this the crux of the constellation. So there is this crux or cross of the constellation during this winter solstice. So it's really the cross of Christ is also being symbolized by this crux or these astrological symbols in the winter solstice. You can find it in the picture which I'm showing you right now. Then after this time on December 25th, the sun moves 1 degree. So this time going to the north, now foreshadowing longer days, warm and spring. So that it was said the sun died on the cross, the 22, 23, 24. That was dead for 3 days, only to be resurrected and born again. So the word born again is also here is an astrological symbols when the sun rises up again on starting December 25th, to the next season of the year, to give warm and light to the world, because Jesus is the light of the world. Okay. So this is why Jesus and the numerous other gods share the crucifixion, 3-day death, and resurrection concept. It is in this winter solstice. So it is the sun's transition period before it shifts its direction back into the northern hemisphere, bringing spring, and that's we call salvation. So Jesus is also saving, give us salvation, the source of salvation. Here in this kind of symbol, this astrological symbolism. So now probably the most obvious of all the astrological symbolism around Jesus regards the 12 disciples. So if we're going to look at the ancient glyphs or the ancient drawing of the constellation. There are 12 constellations, isn't it? And these 12 constellations would also represent the 12 disciples of Jesus, because in some of the glyph, of the constellation, it's not the sun at the center, but it's it's Jesus, the face of Jesus, that is put there as the center of of the constellation. So there are simply the 12 constellations of the zodiac, which Jesus, being the sun, travels in the constellation with the 12 disciples, with his 12 disciples. Okay, so you see, the Bible is really an astro-theological hybrid. This means that the Earth, or we human beings have also this what we call stellar origin, because we are attracted, in looking at the stars and give some interpretation to it, So we would like always to identify ourselves now with the sun, with the stars in heaven. So looking at the stars is also answering our questions about the mystery of God and goddesses. So we can also receive messages even until now by looking at the stars in heaven, because God, as symbolized by the stars, you cannot count the stars, you cannot understand God in its totality. So the Bible, is implicitly giving us a hint that we could interpret it using this high astro-theological symbols. I hope you learned something from my podcast, and please also I would like you to request you to subscribe in my channel at Astra to the Stars. So my last word is, from the stars we came, and to the stars we shall return. Namaste. Thank you very much.